I'm Michael Reese.
And I'm Woods Davis.
And this is the Digital President Podcast.
We've cracked the code for generating customers online for every business model.
In fact, we wrote the book on it.
We've built multiple multi-million-dollar businesses in as little as 90 days. And the one truth that we discovered is
the best business model is doing what you love and living your life by strategy.
You truly can follow your passion and create the life of your dreams,
as long as you have the right strategy.
If you're a real estate agent and you'd like to learn how you can partner with us to help you implement our strategies and systems in your business so you can make a lot more money and have a lot more time freedom, all without ever paying us a penny or giving up a percentage of your commission, go to partnershipdetails.com and schedule a call with us today. While it's fresh in your mind, go to partnershipdetails.com. Now on to the podcast.
Well, you're definitely in for a really good treat today. I have one of my fellow neighbors, friends, and I would call him a coach and mentor, my good buddy Jeremy from J House Vlogs. We're going to be talking to him today about really an amazing opportunity for you and your kids. If you don't know Jeremy, him and his family started vlogging years ago. I'll let him get into the exact details, but they've amassed over 3 million subscribers on YouTube, and hence the reason I call him a coach and a mentor. A few months ago, probably been talking to Jeremy off and on, and a few months ago really started trying to work more in a collaboration of some capacity to bring value to our community. And anyway, one of my big passions is obviously being a father, and one of the homework assignments Jeremy gave me was going through his amazing course that was designed to help kids. I thought, man, we need to bring this course to our community, maybe to your kids. And so today we're going to talk to Jeremy about really the opportunity that might be available for you and your kids for a free event that he's going to be doing, and also a course that he created. And we're going to dive into just really how he got into YouTube and amassed these 3 million plus subscribers. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Well, thanks for coming on, man. I know we've been meeting for, it seems like a couple hours every day and talking very frequently. I've been through the course, and before we jump into that, and just so you know, I learned a lot from the course. You know, the first thing that one of my business partners said when he knew that I was going through the course, he said, "So what do you think, Mike? How good is it?" I said, "Brother, it would have been a shortcut. Like when we knew nothing about YouTube, it would have given us everything we needed to know from start to, finish, beginning to end, soup to nuts, cradle to grave, however you want to say it. It was complete. And man, I just want to congratulate you. So let's first talk a little bit about your backstory, man. How did you find yourself into YouTube? And can you share a little bit about, what your channel's about for those people who might never visited your channel or heard of you?
Yeah, well, and thanks again for having me on. And anyone who's listening to your content, it's been a blessing for me as I've worked with you. Like the energy that I feel and the passion that you exude it's been really fun. I've had a lot of excitement in seeing what you're doing with your YouTube channel. And it's exciting you went through the course, and the feedback you've given, I've loved all of it. But yeah, my journey on YouTube really began when I was a kid. I loved making home videos. We had one of those VHS camcorders that you hold on your shoulder, and me and my brothers would be reenacting like Saturday Night Live skits, or, we did like a murder mystery video, and we were just having fun with it. And also, I remember the home videos we would have were so invaluable. When my parents were 12, they got divorced, and it was a really hard time for me. Like that was a tough age to go through that. And I ended up going back and forth between living with my mom and my dad. And I remember on the really hard days, I would go back and watch that last Christmas that we had all together. I'd watch it over and over again of what it was like to be all together as a family and just what we had and that loss. And I spent a lot of my childhood thinking about what kind of father I wanted to be someday. And I believed that I wanted to, be a filmmaker. And I was so lucky. My parents actually got me video editing lessons when I was a teenager. And I started making videos. And I ended up even doing a little business in high school where I was doing video production. And and obviously I've gone on to make videos the rest of my life. I initially went into the motion picture world, thought that I wanted to be a filmmaker, but I hated the system that was set up. It was this old traditional model, and I felt like I was just a cog in the wheel. And so I ended up deciding not to do filmmaking. I went on to be a lawyer. And we have 5 kids. And one of the days as I was practicing law, my kids wanted to watch some video on YouTube, like, some Elsa singing Let It Go, something like that. And I happened upon a family vlog. And basically what it was just like a home video of a family. But what was crazy about it was it had millions of views. And I started poking around and I saw that more and more families were doing this and tons of people were watching. And I realized that, this was an opportunity to make content that was hopeful, that was clean, that was positive, that people wanted to see. And I went in that very moment, like I went in that day to my wife. I still remember the day. It was April 2nd, 2014. I saw that vlog and I went to my wife and said, Kendra, this is something we could do. And I wouldn't have to worry about billable hours as a lawyer. Like this could set up a life where we literally make home videos of our family and that could be our business, and I could be the director and producer and editor, and we could be the stars of our own show. No one would be telling us what to do in some cog, and we could put goodness into the world. And Kendra was just like, no way. I am not interested at all. She's like, there's crazy people out there and there's sickos that I don't want watching our stuff. And, she didn't want to have anything to do with it. But over the next several months, I just kept watching all of these vlogs and seeing what was working and what wasn't, and just studying it like a student. And kept going back to Kendra, just like, I think this is what we're supposed to do. And eventually I invited her, this is like kind of faith was it's a big part of our life. And so I was like, let's pray about this. And she really sincerely prayed about it, really open-hearted, like, God, if this is something you want us to do, let me know in my heart that this is right. And despite all of her fears, all of her concerns, and to her credit, like she really listened for an answer and felt overwhelmingly like, wow, yeah, this is something we should do. And so we began at the end of that year sharing family vlogs. And we don't have 3 million subscribers yet. We're at like 2.5 million, but we do have over 3 billion views now on YouTube. And it's just been of making this family content, sharing our family life. We homeschool our 5 kids. And so it's almost like a Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood reality TV show of our life. And it's really been an exciting journey.
Man, that's awesome. I remember a couple months ago, back in March, I did an Ironman, and one of my buddies flew in from Canada. And it was just kind of coincidence. At the end of the Ironman, after him being here a week, he wanted to stop by to see where we lived. He heard a lot about the neighborhood, obviously, where we live, and he wanted to come by, go hit the pool. And on the way to the pool, I just was sparking up casual conversation with the daughter. He had 2 little kids. One was one probably couldn't have carried a conversation, but the other could. And I said, so how are you liking your trip to Puerto Rico? And she said, I really liked it, but I told my grandpa, I believe I'm quoting this correctly, but I told my grandpa I had one major goal, and it was to meet J House Vlogs. And it was like time stopped, because I was like, well, might be able to make that happen. And it was pretty cool to see how big of a reach, YouTube has created for you guys. I mean, this girl, she knew everything. I mean, her parents, because at the beginning, I believe I played it kind of down low, not knowing if I was going to be able to get a hold of you. And I was like, so who is that? Right. And they're like, oh, it's somebody, she watches on YouTube. She watches them every day, all day, blah, 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 blah. And it's pretty interesting because y'all have had such a significant impact. And as I commute, throughout the world, and people who I bump into, it's amazing how many people follow your channel, and just what a great thing. And I feel like y'all provide so much value just out there for people that are looking for really good content that they can trust their kids to be involved with, because YouTube is, TikTok's a scary place. YouTube could be a scary place.
Yeah. And,
man, it's just awesome that you make that content that is so great for kids. But with that, how has just personally, how does your kids, your wife, how do they like the YouTube and kind of this? I'm sure they feel. Do y'all get recognized when you're traveling and stuff like that?
Yeah, that becomes a part of it. And it was interesting with our kids because we never want them to be like, oh, we're rich and famous and, feeling like they're somehow superstars. But then we would have this issue where a lot of places we would go, most of the places we would go, people would stop and ask to take pictures or they would recognize us. And so we've really tried to instill in them the service mission of what we do, that it's about sharing love. When your friends came over and able to meet them and hear their story and talk to them and get to know them, like that's what it's all about, is connection and opportunity to serve. I often think about myself as that little kid watching the home videos of Christmas and longing and hoping someday for that. I was going through a lot of suffering and it was cathartic to watch those videos. Like that's what we're hoping to offer, is that hope and that peace. I've showed you this before. This is Ben, and he's a little kid. I got this note from the mom that Ben had cancer, and he was going through treatment, and he was suffering a ton. But every day, what he wanted to do in the hospital was watch J House vlogs. And so those are the kinds of things we relate to our kids is, this is an opportunity to give meaning and love to people who are recognizing us. Our kids have loved that. I mean, we've really dialed down. We're only posting right now one video a week, and it's not a huge part of our life. It's something that we didn't want to take over where our kids feel like they're working for us or something. It's really a minimal part of our life is YouTube. But our kids are wanting to do more, and that's part of what sparked me creating this course for kids is I have these 5 kids who want to do more editing. They want to do more creating. They're wanting us to build other channels. They're asking to build their own channels, but we want to make sure that they know how to do it safe and that they're not going to try to become rich and famous. Like you see all the divas on YouTube, and that's the last thing parents want. As a parent, it's like, I don't want my kid thinking they want to become rich and famous and become a superstar. But we do want our kids working hard, setting goals, shooting for their dreams, learning skills. And so that's really what, we're wanting to offer to our kids is those opportunities as part of a cool family business.
So I did hear this shocking stat the other day. In fact, it was today. It was on like a reel, and it was talking about the percentage of kids that want to be YouTubers. And I was doing a deep dive, and have you seen what the percentage is of kids that want to be YouTubers?
I mean, there's a Pew Research poll done a couple of years ago that was at like 76% want to be influencers, but there's different research coming out all the time, but it's constantly showing that this is what kids are saying they want to do.
Yeah. And, for me, and just, I think what inspired me, I sent you a text. One of the things that I made a deal with my wife is I said, listen, when we moved here, one of my biggest passions was writing. That was one of my biggest passions. Really, I would say being a creator, creating content, and that was something that I was always into creating content. I was, to some capacity over my career. I think I made the switch from a direct response marketer to really creating content, but delivering it different ways. And having 4 kids of my own with a 4-month-old at home, daughter, and 3 boys, I was inspired maybe 5 years ago when I was in the Virgin Islands. I was sitting on the front of a boat listening to an audiobook, and I bought the domain that day. I still own the domain to this day. And I was inspired to write a book, and the book was basically going to be principles with application around what I thought would be just for my kids. At the time, I didn't have a bunch of kids. I only probably had 1 or 2 kids at the time. And so, and I probably was just, under the mindset of writing the book for my oldest son. And I just wanted to, it was something that meant so much to me because I felt like, I've always lived my life as if like something happened to me tomorrow. Like I just think that way. I know my wife says that sounds so crazy. I think you actually mentioned something like that as well to me a few days ago, just in conversation. But I do it honestly constantly. So I told my wife, I said, if I ever leave Puerto Rico, I will not ever leave this island without finishing the book that originally started my quest for writing a book, which was for my kids. And so, man, I'm super inspired by, man, your ability to have, created this, not only this ability to spend so much time with your kids and what I would say is, a life by strategy, but also creating this opportunity for all of the kids in the world. When I went through your course, man, it was obviously it was done professional. It was very instructional. The workbook was unbelievable, and I felt like it was something that anybody could go through, really at any age, that had a desire to learn. It would give them those tools to get started. And so that's what inspired me to want to share this with my community. I know there's a lot of real estate agents out there, specifically that have children that are entrepreneurs, that are, obviously the stats say 76% of kids want to learn about YouTube or be a YouTuber. I felt like, getting the world out and sharing your course after going through it and knowing how amazing of an opportunity that is. I really it wasn't for, I didn't do the challenge, but I showed it to my kids. I loved the challenge part. I could just see such of the application. I loved the part in the with the homework assignments and the accountability. And I really love how, you really set everything up and explained everything, not only from, where I felt like it was a safety, a trust thing where I would have my kids go through it, but also for somebody like me, being a lawyer who actually represented some top YouTubers, there was stuff that I learned from that angle. So I felt like, man, not only should anybody go through it that, or get it for their, get the course for their kid. I told you this the other day. I said, I'm going through it, but I'm going back through it. Like, I'm going to set it up with my kids and go back through each one of them and kind of do an exercise with them. It was so inspiring. And those skills, man, are just such a foundation for so many different things.
Yeah, when we homeschool our kids, for us, it's all about passion. We share with our kids the things we're passionate about. What Kendra and I do at night is, if we're teaching history, like, we're up talking about the podcast we've been listening to about World War II or whatever it is we're studying. And that's what we want to share with our kids, is the passion for learning. And we don't dumb stuff down. And so when I put this course together, my biggest concern about it, honestly, was like, is it too advanced? Is it too much? And I'm okay with that being maybe the problem, because it is a do-it-yourself kind of course and you can work through it. And so in every lesson I have where you can go as deep as you want to go, there's all these resources, there's all these activities and assignments and things that you can do to improve, or you can go a little bit more surface if you want. But I know for parents, they want that safety side. And so that was top priority. And again, for us as parents, we're all about safety. I mean, none of our kids have a TikTok account. We'll make TikToks with them, but I'm the one managing that because we know how TikTok works. If you just hand that over to your teenage son, like, it's gonna lead them down a rabbit hole that might not be so healthy for them. And same with YouTube. We would never have our kids just post something on YouTube that we didn't review. And so we show that there's a way where they can post stuff that's unlisted, where they can get feedback within our course without even making it available, so that parents can know, like, hey, this is a safe way to learn these skills. But yeah, I'm just so grateful you went through it and are beginning the process and seeing the value of it with your kids. You brought up the video challenge. What that is there's over 100 video challenges where it's ideas of videos you can make, because the course isn't about me talking at kids or parents who are going through it with them. It's about them getting hands-on experience and doing stuff. You have to make videos to learn how to do videos. You don't just listen to someone talk about it. But one of the big barriers for kids or anybody is like, well, what video should I make? So I have the 100 video challenge where it's like, here's 100 ideas of videos you can make right here. Here's how you make them. Here's what you do. And so that's a great, bonus that we threw in there to help people actually get into the creating process. But I've loved it. With the entrepreneurial parents particularly, I keep hearing that feedback that they're going through it and getting as much, if not more, out of it than their kids are, which is awesome, because that's what it's all about, is learning and growing. And it really is for anybody.
Well, let me ask you a question. So when I was going through that, there was actual a summer camp that I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just obviously know that you're doing an actual summer camp as well this year. Can you kind of talk a little bit about that and how people could get involved?
Yeah, one of the things that has broken my heart, I put about a year into creating the course and I saw it as a great, opportunity to get the word out. But I know that not everyone can afford the course. And so this is a free 3-day live stream Zoom meeting setup where it's a video challenge summer camp. And so it's going to be broken down where there's a teen group and a kid one for those 13 and older or those 12 and younger. And every day you come in with an assignment. We're going to learn specific skills, and then we're going to be reviewing the videos, and I'll be picking winners, and there's going to be polls and challenges, and it'll just be a super interactive introduction to video creation. And so that's July 19th, 20th, 21st that we're having the free video challenge summer camp.
So if first of all, I would actually, I'll put a link in the description on where they can find the course.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'll put a link in there on how they can get involved in the summer camp. I'm actually going to be texting it to my sister.
Yeah.
If you don't have kids, text it to your. I promise you, like I just my nephew Brody's going to come here. I can just imagine, and he's this type of kid, right? Like he would eat this up. But also like there's no reason to not get involved. This summer camp I think is obviously it's free and it's a huge introduction. I was able to see some of the videos that were posted in the course, and it looks just like just a really good thing for kids to get involved in. It's something that I'm going to be having my boys go through. That's for sure. And well, let me ask you a couple other questions. So. As far as YouTube right now, talking to the real estate agent, and I'm shifting gears here. So I'm going to shift out of the, out from the kids side. One of the things a couple of the big ahas that I've gotten working with you is just, the importance of getting the right things done. And, one of the things that you did for me was, we went through all of my videos, we went through all of my thumbnails. Went through content ideas. What would you say to a real estate agent, that might not be on YouTube, sees the power in it and really thinks it's too late?
It is not too late to get on YouTube. It's true that it is more saturated, and so it does require a strategy. It requires a strategy to know what you're doing if you want to win in this game. And it is a competitive game because you're in this business on YouTube of fighting for the eyeballs. And so it's understanding where you need to put your focus if you want to win the game. And that's what we've been going through with you, Michael. It's been super fun to say, okay, let's look at the thumbnails. How could we improve the thumbnails to make them more competitive, where people are more likely to click on it? Or how can we create videos that are going to be more enticing to your audience? Or what can we do with the editing to make it more engaging to keep people on longer? So if you have this strategy, if you know the rules of the game, you can come in and learn and play and win. And what's exciting is that all of those who are way ahead of you, like you'll see real estate agents who have, thousands of subscribers and millions of views on their videos. Know that just means that niche is carved out and prepared and ready for you to come and participate in it. Like the reason I was able to succeed as a family vlogger was mainly because the people who had trudged the path ahead of me, the trailblazers, had already made this a genre. They had already made it a space. They had already gathered the people in who were interested. And so when I was able to come in and start playing the game, I was able to get recommended by those audiences because they already existed. So it's easy to feel behind the ball. It's easy to feel like you can't break through. But the fact that there's already people doing this and succeeding is just evidence that there are people wanting this content. And that if you can create that content and improve and get better and better and be consistent, you can be the one showing up in their inbox on their YouTube page and being suggested.
Absolutely, and it's such a better way to do business. I mean, it's the heart of attracting business. It's amazing. How it's amazing to me how much easier it is to focus on adding value, and thinking of different ways to add value versus thinking of different ways to try to get a customer, right? It's just such a slight paradigm shift. But by thinking of how to add value for your audience, you actually attract customers. And man, I saw a huge shift just by me being intentional. I had a YouTube channel for years and wasn't intentional. One of the things I want to point out about your course, probably one of my favorite parts, was the amazing videos of some of the people that are friends of yours or other content creators that you organized in the course. And, some of those videos I would have never found, but I know that's probably the stuff that you watch. And, I remember going, the very first one I went through was, it instantly changed my paradigm forever. And then when I'm able to talk to you and get some feedback, and it's just such a, for me personally, it's so rewarding for me to know, to not think of, oh my goodness, I got to shoot 3 videos this week, got to drop one Monday, got to drop one Wednesday, got to drop one Tuesday. It's so rewarding for me to now have a different paradigm shift or identity that I'm attaching myself to on what makes a good YouTuber, right? And I think it's at some degree it's quality over quantity.
Yeah, in the course, I call those the resource videos. And that may have taken some of the most time was within each topic. I know I'm not like the one and only expert of YouTube. Like a lot of my friends who are YouTubers have been doing this for years. So if I was doing a lesson on coming up with a big idea, I'm friends with Mark Rober. And so I throw in his TED Talk about that and you can learn from him, or you can see what Dude Perfect is doing as an example. You can see what other people are teaching and saying. And so there's all these resources. But coming back to it, what we've talked about specifically with you, Michael, that I think could be helpful to anyone watching, it's about exuding the passion and it's about having fun. And really, really thinking that, like, how can I have fun with this? Because if you're having fun and you're passionate about what you're sharing and you're getting that message out there and you're connecting, like that's the secret sauce. And it's figuring out how to replicate that, systematize it, and be able to consistently do it.
Well, I just want to say thank you I know you're traveling tomorrow. I know you have a lot on your plate. I know we chatted yesterday and you were like, man, I got so many things. So first of all, I knew you were going to be out of pocket for some time with family reunions and just family stuff. So first of all, thanks in advance for jumping on. Guys, I highly recommend you take this course. He said, if you don't take the course, at least get somebody that you know or promote. I'll put a link for the free course, the free summer camp. If there's a kid out there, you never know. It's the butterfly effect. You never know. I remember a guy called me one day and invited me to the lake, and I decided to go. And that weekend, I met my wife. And you just don't know, like, the power of one decision to say, it's not for me. But you know what? I'm going to forward this over to Julie down the street, or I'm going to forward this. You could have an impact on a child's life, and a very positive one. So anyway, make sure that if you know any kids out there that are creative entrepreneurs, they might just have more energy than they can stand. Do their parents a favor and give them a course so they can sit down and learn something that maybe they're a little bit more passionate about. The statistics say, and I did look them up, 75% of kids between 6 and 17 want to be YouTubers. And so there's such a great opportunity. Jeremy, thank you so much for jumping on. If you'll just, those dates again, they're July for the free summer camp.
Yeah, it's July 19th, 20th, and 21st. And it's all about getting kids creating instead of just consuming. And, the parents have this opportunity. The desire is there, and parents just don't know what to do with it. They know how to sign their kids up for soccer. They know how to sign their kids up for these other things. But parents don't know what to do when their kids say they want to be a YouTuber. And a lot of them are scared of it. This is a safe, good first step of something you can do to support that dream they have and that desire.
And I would want to say, just for the point of record, I believe everybody can afford it. My kids have been collecting golf balls, And I think we collected 118 golf balls in a day. I know that Jay and his son collected over 1,300 golf balls.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of those are mine, right in that
Yeah.
lake right there by your house.
Well, the funny thing is that my kids go up to the front and they sell the golf ball for $1 a golf ball. You know, when I was a kid, I sold Christmas trees. I had a newspaper route. I sold firewood. Literally firewood that I chopped down myself.
Yep.
I mowed grass. So first of all, this is actually very affordable. I would say it's probably one of the most affordable classes that I've seen out there on the market, period. It's probably it should be 10X. So before it's not an expensive course. I think I could have afforded the course on with my paper out, in 10 days. So this is something that, you can put your kids in and you can let them work it off, if you will. You can make an arrangement with them. I think there's a lot of great opportunities to figure out a way to do it, but it is an investment, and the best investment you can make is in yourself. But I would say for all of us parents, we would say the best investment we could make would be in our kids. So anyway, I wanted to share that with everybody. Jeremy, thank you so much for jumping on today's podcast. And I would say it, but I guess I'm not going to this time. I'm not going to tell you to subscribe and turn on notifications. I'll wait till the next video.
Perfect.